The Africana Studies department was founded during a time when UNC Charlotte was undergoing change and society was full of social and political unrest. Dr. Bertha Maxwell Roddy was the first chairman of the department, and she was a pioneer in planting seeds in Black studies that would flower into the department it is today. UNC Charlotte professor Sonia Ramsey, who has worked extensively on biographical material about Dr. Roddy, had this to say about her.
It was an interesting and heady time. You had angry students who wanted this program. You had very formal administrators. She had to develop a curriculum that they would approve, and she had to have the students' approval. And the students were a little wary of her at first because they thought she was just a traditional public school teacher who was not down with the program. And that's not a quote, but that's what, that she was not, militant enough. But she put them in their place because she said, you may be an activist, but I have the skills to run this program. And so she did. So first she studied all the Black Studies curriculum. She talked with other Black Studies directors, and she created this unique program where she wanted students not only to learn academics, but also for these students who had primarily attended segregated schools to become more self-aware of themselves as African American students, to gain a self-confidence as Black students so they could go into any classroom and feel confident and not intimidated.
Greetings. We are delighted that you are considering UNC Charlotte as a possible institution for furthering your education. The Black Studies program has been designed out of the concerns and needs of those Black students having preceded you at UNCC. It was their desire, as it is ours, that you engage in meaningful learning activities that are relevant and from a Black perspective. We have not arrived at a final solution, for a luta continua. The struggle continues. If you join us, we hope you will be able to add significantly to the continuation of making this program more functional and viable as an instrument for change. Black people urgently need, now and in the years ahead, millions of trained Black minds, especially yours. Sincerely, Bertha L. Maxwell, Director, Afro-American and African Studies.
The Mean Green, as Charlotte calls itself, almost won the National Invitational Tournament last year. And last week, in regional playoffs, it knocked off Michigan, the top-ranked college team in the country. The star, Cedric Cornbread Maxwell, 6'8", an All-American from a small town on North Carolina's coast. The coach, 39-year-old Lee Rose, his last job 2 years ago at a school called Transylvania in Kentucky. When the team flew home Sunday to Charlotte, 5,000 people turned out to say, "Well done."
Robert Rowell, a financial analyst who graduated from UNC Charlotte in 1981, remembers his time at UNC Charlotte under the leadership of Dr. Maxwell Roddy and talked about why he took classes in the curriculum.
Being a Black student at UNC Charlotte, I was very much interested in knowing that the university offered African American and African Studies. It really interests me in a lot of ways where we didn't have such curriculums like that in high school. It gave me an opportunity to learn more about Black history from a literary perspective, because one of the classes I took was an English course, and it was on English on the Black perspective, and I had an opportunity to read about the autobiography of Malcolm X and also The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. I was not exposed to this when I was in high school, so it gave me a lot of exposure, and it shaped me as a male going into corporate America in terms of just pride, self-esteem, knowing where I came from, the history, and self-perseverance, because a lot of things that, courses that I took when I was a student here allowed me to grow. It gave me strength, it gave me hope, knowing that if some of the Black figureheads that we studied about and learned about, if they made it in tough times, that I could make it in tough times as well.
Dr. Roddy planted a seed as chair of the Black Studies Department, which eventually became the Department of African American and African Studies. That seed continued to be fertilized during the leadership of its new chairman, Dr. Mario Azevedo, who arrived at the university. Dr. Azevedo continued to lead the department toward new ventures. In 2008, Dr. Akin Agundaran took over the reins of the Africana Studies Department with a vision to take the seed from Dr. Roddy, the fertilizer from Dr. Azevedo, and grow the department into one that provided the tools and courses needed for success in a wide range of careers in the 21st century.
Black studies in the country. So I came at the very right time. So we had a series of events to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the department. We used that occasion to also talk a lot about questions of race. What I always tell people about Black studies, what we now refer to as Africana Studies, is that when we talk about the university as we know it today, we are talking about questions of social justice, questions of equity, questions of access, racial, gender, class lines. These conversations seriously started in Black studies. So those ideals that we now hold very dear to ourselves, they started in the 1960s in the context of young people asking for inclusion. They're not asking for special things, they just want the university to actually live true to its universal identity, right? So as a result of that, Africana Studies responded at that time to a series of issues going on, the presidency. We are never shy of talking about politics here because we are all products of politics. So we were able to use that occasion in 2008 to redefine what we are. Africana Studies cannot be one thing. The reason is that Black people, since blackness, Black people constitute the subject of our study, right? We were never the same thing yesterday and today, right? Our needs changed, and the need of the society changed as well, So in 2008, we used that occasion of our 40th anniversary to talk about where are we going, where have we come from, or where have we been, and then where are we going. And that was a very interesting conversation because we were able to bring together those people who shaped who we are as Africana Studies. Our founding mother, Dr. Bertha Maxwell Roddy, we included her in that conversation. We included our alums in that conversation, and then we included our students as well in the conversation across campus, and that laid the groundwork of, let me say, the roadmap of what we have been doing since that time. Whenever a student signs up for major or minor in Africana Studies, I always say, welcome home. This is home. It doesn't matter whether you are a Caucasian student, whether you are Asian, whether you are, welcome home. This is home. What our goal here is not just to talk about the content of the book, what someone else has written. We want to use this place as a space where we can discuss what is not possible outside, what people are not comfortable with. And we want students to see us as one of them, as family members, that we are family members having difficult conversation. So this is home in the sense that it's where you should be comfortable because it is through questioning that we can find the right answer. I don't have the answer. My student may have the answer, and you should have the answer. Because you should have the answer. So that is the kind of spirit that we maintain here. In terms of the community must be very important. I mean, it has always been very important to Africana Studies. Don't forget that some of the programs that we have in the university today, community engagement, experiential learning, internship, Black Studies, Africana Studies, started those programs before they become universalized as part of the university agenda. It is here that we started those things, you know. Then we have a program whereby, what do you call those, where students have special learning experiences, you know, learning communities. You know, those things started in Black Studies, you know. So based on those, we want to make sure that we do not lose the qualities of these curriculum that created us. We always involve the community in our programs, and we also go out in the community. And these things happen in two ways. One way is to partner with community organizations or institutions like the AVB Gun Center for African American Arts and Culture, Mint Museum, the Event Center of the South. We have programs, ongoing programs with them. And since these are already community organizations serving the community, we feel it is more impactful when we actually partner with them. So I always say that, I always tell the Gun Center that we are the intellectual partner to them. So whenever they are doing an exhibition, they always reach out to us so that we can use our expertise as historians, as sociologists, as literary figures to kind of strengthen what they are trying to do. So we go there to offer lectures, we go there to participate in symposia. We also use our library as a resource for them. So primary sources, primary documents, we share those things with them. We go to public school to teach subjects that teachers may not necessarily prepare to teach, or they defer to us since we're the experts. You know. So we do all these kind of things with the community, with museums, of course, with schools, and we also then do lectures.
Since its humble beginnings as a seed over 40 years ago, the Africana Studies department at UNC Charlotte has blossomed into what it is today.
Working alongside the Africana Studies Department has been an incredible learning experience. I am honored to have been blessed with the opportunity to help further develop the rich history of this department.
And folks will tell you that government alone can't teach our kids to learn. They know that parents have to teach, that children can't achieve unless we raise their expectations and turn off the television sets and eradicate the slander that says a black youth with a book is acting white. They know those things.